Welcome to the Garden Diva. Join Terri as she explores landscaping, gardening, and the great outdoors. She'll guide you from flower to field and to a few places where a diva really doesn't belong. And now, here's the Garden Diva.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Terri.
How you doing today?
Good.
We've got a good day to get together and talk about the garden.
I know.
I'm excited to see your garden, but can you tell me a little bit about your home and the property that you have here and some history about it?
Yes, the home was built in 1886 by Richard C. Brown. And Richard C. Brown was just a common farmer in the area, so it's a farm-style house. He actually had a farm that was down the street, and his farm was not located here. But the home place here, they had a garden, and they had a few animals here. So when we moved here, there was basically nothing here at all. The space was wide open. So the only thing that was in our backyard at the time was one crepe myrtle tree. So we had to start from scratch, basically. So we looked, and one of the ideas that I had is knowing that in that time frame, cottage gardens were very popular. And this was the time back when the ladies not only grew vegetables and some flowers for the house, but herbs were very, very important in that time. And so I wanted to recreate the feel of what it would have been like back in the colonial days. So this is a little bit that you'll see in my garden, is how we incorporated herbs throughout the landscape, as well as in our colonial little small garden like you would see back in those days.
Great, that sounds really good. Let's go out into the garden and see what you've got.
Okay.
Laura, I cannot believe that you said there was nothing here when you got here. It looks like this garden's been around for 100 years.
Yeah, it was a clean slate other than the old crepe myrtle that you see over there.
Okay, Laura, what have we got here?
This is our cottage garden. I've tried to incorporate herbs in along with perennial flowers. And you'll see a few vegetables here and there through the garden. And this is my vertical strawberry patch that I tried this year, where you take an old crate and you plant the flowers, or in this case I did strawberries. And it worked out really well. The snails couldn't eat them, and it provided a nice snack while I was in the garden working. And then I've incorporated a lot of the herbs throughout the garden, as you see.
I do recognize the lamb's ear. Is lamb's ear an herb?
Yes, and you know, most people do not realize that it's an herb.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it is. And one of the interesting things about the lamb's ear is not only is it wonderful in the landscape, and a lot of the kids love to have it around.
The fuzziness of it is what I like.
Yeah, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is it's actually a medicinal herb.
Okay.
It has bacterial properties inside of it, antibacterial properties, to where in the old days they actually used to use it as a Band-Aid. They would put it on a wound, and then they would wrap it with a cloth, and it worked just like our antibacterial Band-Aids that we have today.
So what else have we got? I see some chives.
The chives are just finally starting to bloom out right now. And, you know, chives are wonderful. They have a wonderful flavor, but a lot of people don't know how to use them in foods. And even if you don't use them in foods, they're wonderful in the landscape because of the bloom that it creates. Plus, they stay green all summer, so they look really nice. They'll incorporate anywhere around your landscape. They look really great. One of my favorite herbs, and I think a lot of people are familiar with peppermint, and I grow peppermint, but one of my favorite peppermints is the chocolate peppermint.
Oh, chocolate peppermint, so you can come out and smell it and there's no calories involved.
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of the children that come out to visit the garden, they relate it to the peppermint patty candies. And I have it over in this pot over here, you'll see. One of the things that is good to remind people is that when you're growing mints, and of course like this mint here, it's coming up everywhere and mint will take over. But if you have a different variety of mint, you want to keep it separate. And a way to keep it separate is to put it in a pot over by itself. And that way I can keep track of it. I can make sure that it's spread where I didn't want it to go. But I love having the mint so handy. Now this is my vitex tree.
It's beautiful.
The vitex tree is also called chaseberry tree.
Okay, I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah. In the spring, it looks a lot like a butterfly bush.
Same kind of bloom.
Yeah, and I planted a butterfly bush close by so people could see the difference. But it has a bloom on it, and then once the bloom falls off, you'll see the little berries that are up there that forms. Now the berries are also used for medicine. It's used for women, actually, especially for women. It helps to regulate their cycle, actually. But people make chaseberry tea with it as well. But I love the form because it does remind you of them.
Have you made the tea before?
No.
You haven't? Okay, I've enjoyed looking at your cottage garden. It's so beautiful.